Peter Pan is actually a Grim Reaper in green tights. You ever look in the bathroom mirror and see your blood, sweat, and tears in the sink like they're plotting against you? No? Just me? Cool. Anyway, that's the kind of energy we're bringing to today's episode of Once Upon a WTF, the show where we rip the fairy dust off your childhood and see what's festering underneath. Today, we're talking about Peter Pan, a story so unsettling it basically turns childhood innocence into a full-blown ghost tour. You think it's about a fun boy in green tights who teaches kids how to fly? Wrong. It's about a possibly unalive Victorian baby who refuses to pay rent in the afterlife, kidnaps children from public parks, and rules over a gang of lost souls in a fantasy island that might actually be the afterlife. No cap. Let's break it down. So first off, before Peter Pan was a Disney cartoon with snappy songs and a crocodile who keeps time, he was the brainchild of J.M. Barrie, a man who, and I say this with love, was giving off Victorian crypt keeper energy. Barrie first wrote Peter Pan into a short story in The Little White Bird, and in that version, Peter isn't a teenager. He's literally a week-old baby. A baby who escapes from being human and takes up residence in Kensington Gardens. He flies with fairies and stays a baby forever, because, as the book says, there is not the slightest chance of his ever having a birthday. That's Victorian for, this baby is unalive. Like, permanently. And that's where it starts. Peter Pan isn't just a magical boy who won't grow up. He can't grow up, because he's already crossed over. Then came the play Peter Pan or the Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up, and then the novel Peter and Wendy. These are where things go full ghost story. Let's talk about the Lost Boys. You ever wonder why they're called Lost? They're not just bad at Google Maps. Peter straight up says they're boys who fell out of their strollers and wandered off in Kensington Gardens. They got lost and never came back. Like, permanently. So yeah, unalived children. Ghost kids. They can't grow up because they don't exist in the living world anymore. They're in limbo, aka Neverland, a place that runs on imagination and sadness. Peter's not taking them on adventures. He's escorting them to the other side like some gleeful Victorian Grim Reaper with a dagger and an attention span of 5 seconds. Also, Peter kills lost boys. Let me say that again, slowly. Peter kills lost boys. Not all the time, just when they grow up. Or when they get on his nerves, or when there's too many and the vibes get off. It's basically HR downsizing, but with swords. Even creepier, he forgets them after he does it. Like a kid with goldfish brain who can't handle grief, so he just rewrites reality. And sometimes he feeds them pretend food, because he can't tell the difference between real and imaginary things. Again, not the best guy to leave in charge of your kids. Now, Wendy gets brought to Neverland because Peter wants a mother, which, in Peter speak, means someone to tell stories and do chores and emotionally babysit his little ghost army. Wendy's into it for a while, until she finds out this place is less Disneyland and more Hell's Gymboree. Let's talk mermaids. In the original book, they straight up try to drown Wendy. They're described as not nice, which is British for will murder you for clout. And then there's Captain Hook. Yeah, Disney made him into a mustache-twirling cartoon, but the OG Hook was a sadistic pirate who literally left a kidnapped girl tied to a rock so the tide would drown her. This is the level of bedtime story we're working with here. But let's circle back to Peter. The original Peter Pan is cold, detached. He forgets people. He has no empathy. He laughs when people get hurt. And when the darlings go home at the end of the story, he forgets who they are. Like immediately. He ghosts them harder than your high school crush after prom. Now let's talk J.M. Barrie. This man based Peter Pan on a boy named George, one of 5 children from a family he got real close to after their father passed away. George eventually became permanently lost in World War I. The younger brother, Michael, who Barrie was closest to, also crossed over, drowned in a tragic accident at age 20, which happened right around the time Peter Pan really took off. So yeah, Peter Pan isn't just a fun fantasy, it's Barrie processing grief, childhood loss, and the brutal realization that nobody stays young forever, unless they, never made it out of childhood. Suddenly, Neverland sounds less like a party, and more like a Victorian purgatory with fairy dust. So when Peter shows up at your window asking you to fly away with him, he's not taking you to adventure. He's taking you to the other side. Once Upon A WTF, where your childhood meets the cold, bony hand of Victorian ghost logic. And hey, if this episode made you scream into a pillow or reevaluate your entire bookshelf, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who still thinks Peter Pan is just misunderstood. Because next time, we're going even deeper into the fairy tale crypt. Until then, keep your windows locked and your imagination haunted. Peace out, lost kids. Let me know if you want a